My son was gone for 10 minutes.
Then a stranger returned him. 10 minutes. That's how long it took for my entire world to fall apart. I always thought our neighborhood park was a sanctuary. You know, a little bubble of sunny afternoons and laughter. But I learned how fast, how terrifyingly fast, that sense of security can be shattered. I looked away for just a second, and my son was gone. This is the story of the absolute terror I went through, and the shocking truth about the stranger who brought him back. Section 1. The Perfect Afternoon. It was one of those perfect late summer days. The sky was just this brilliant cloudless blue and the air was warm with that promise of fall right around the corner. My son Leo, who was 5 at the time, was a total whirlwind of energy. His bright red t-shirt was like a little flash of color against all the green in the park. His laughter was the soundtrack to my life, honestly the purest sound I'd ever known. We had our ritual. First the swings, then the slide, which he always insisted was a lava-covered volcano he had to escape, and then finally the sandbox. He could spend hours in there, totally lost in a world of plastic dinosaurs and castles he built so carefully. I was sitting on our usual bench, the one with a perfect view of his sandy kingdom, just feeling that deep, quiet happiness that I think only a parent watching their happy kid can really understand. I remember thinking, man, I am so lucky. We had this safe park in our safe neighborhood, in our quiet little town. Nothing bad ever happened here. This was a place for scraped knees and ice cream on your chin, not real, actual fear. I felt so peaceful. It was the kind of peace that comes right before the storm, the calm you don't even realize you should be treasuring until it's ripped away. I pulled out my phone to capture the moment, to snap a photo of his little head bent over some lopsided sand fortress he was building. He was right there. He was safe. Section 2. The Inciting Incident. The buzz of my phone was what did it. It was just a text from my husband asking about dinner. I remember looking down, and my eyes left Leo for what couldn't have been more than 5 seconds. I typed back a quick, tacos, and smiled. When I looked up, the whole world just tilted. The red of his t-shirt wasn't there anymore. The spot where he'd been squatting just a moment ago was empty. My first reaction wasn't even panic. It was confusion. Just this mild, detached thought. Where'd he go? I scanned the sandbox. Nothing. I looked over at the playset. The swings. No flash of red. My heart gave a little flutter, a nervous twitch. Leo, I called out, my voice still pretty normal. Time to go soon, buddy. Silence. Suddenly, all the other sounds of the park, kids squealing, other parents chatting, seemed muffled and far away. That flutter in my chest became a hard thud. I stood up and my legs felt weirdly weak. Leo. This time my voice was sharper, higher. It cut through the afternoon haze, and a couple of other parents glanced over. He wasn't behind the slide. He wasn't by the water fountain. He was just gone. And in that moment, the 10 minutes of hell began. Section 3, Rising Action, the 10 minutes of terror. The first minute was a frantic, sort of organized search. I walked quickly, my head whipping back and forth, calling his name over and over. Leo, Leo, where are you? This isn't funny. My mind was just a whirlwind of excuses. He's hiding. He saw a friend. He's just around the corner. But with every single step, this cold dread started to seep into my bones. By minute 3, all those rational thoughts were gone, replaced by pure, uncut panic. My walk turned into a jog, and then an all-out run. I was circling the playground like a wild animal, my breath catching in my throat, my calls turning into choked sobs. Leo! I was screaming now, and I didn't care who was staring. My world had shrunk down to one terrifying focus. My son was missing. It's a state of absolute psychological breakdown. My mind was splintering into a million worst-case scenarios. I felt a total loss of control, a helplessness so profound it actually hurt. Your world just turns completely upside down. My mind flashed with images I couldn't stop, a busy street just past the park gates, a stranger's car, a dark, unfamiliar room. Every person in the park became a potential threat, every shadow a monster. At the 5-minute mark, I fumbled for my phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely unlock it. I was about to dial 911 when another mother walked up to me. "Are you looking for a little boy in a red shirt?" she asked, her face full of concern. Hope surged through me, so strong it made me dizzy. Yes, have you seen him? I saw him walking toward the woods at the edge of the park," she said, pointing to a thicket of trees that bordered the lawns. "He went that way maybe 5 minutes ago." The woods, my heart sank like a stone. The beautiful sunny park suddenly felt so menacing, the line of trees like a dark gaping mouth. Those 10 minutes felt like a lifetime of fear and a loneliness so deep it was suffocating. I ran, not even caring about the branches that snagged my clothes and scratched my arms. Leo, Leo, can you hear me? There was no answer but the rustling leaves, and that's when despair really started to set in. He was gone, truly gone. I just sank to my knees, the reality of it crushing me. My child was gone, and I let it happen. It was Minute 9, Section 4, Climax, The Stranger. Just as I was about to finally scream for the police, a sound cut through my despair, the crunch of footsteps. I looked up, my eyes blurry with tears, and saw a figure coming out of the trees. It was an older man, with graying hair and a kind, weathered face, and he was holding Leo's hand. Time just slowed down. I saw every single detail: the man's worn-out flannel shirt, the dirt on his work boots, the gentle way he held my son's little hand in his. Leo wasn't crying. He was looking up at the man, listening to whatever he was saying. My body was a war zone of emotions. First, this tidal wave of relief that almost knocked me over. He was safe, he was right there. But right on its heels came this surge of suspicion. Who was this man? Why did he have my son? A million questions flooded my mind, each one scarier than the last. In that moment, he was both a savior and a monster. I scrambled to my feet, my mom instincts overriding everything. Leo, I cried, and my son finally saw me. His face broke into a huge smile as he let go of the man's hand and ran to me. I swept him up into my arms, buried my face in his hair, just breathing him in, making sure he was real. After holding him for what felt like forever, I looked at the stranger, my voice trembling but firm. Who are you? Section 5, Falling Action. The shocking truth. The man didn't even flinch. He just stood there with this look of profound sadness in his eyes. My name is George, he said, his voice soft and raspy. I wasn't trying to scare you. What were you doing with my son? I demanded, my grip on Leo tightening. He took a slow breath, and then his story just tumbled out, a truth so unexpected and heartbreaking it left me speechless. 30 years ago, he began, I lost my own son. Not here, but in a place just like it. A crowded store. I looked away for a moment, just like you. He paused, the pain of the memory still raw on his face. They never found him. My anger just dissolved, replaced by a wave of empathy so strong it buckled my knees. This man wasn't a threat. He was a ghost, haunted by a grief I had only just tasted for 10 minutes. I come here sometimes, he continued, his gaze drifting past me to the kids laughing on the swings. I watch them play, and I watch for the wanderers, the ones who get that look in their eye and just start walking. I saw your boy heading for the parking lot. He wasn't running, just walking with purpose, chasing a butterfly. He didn't see the cars. He had acted out of pure empathy, a need to stop another parent from feeling the lifelong agony he had to live with. I just stopped him, George said simply. We had a little chat about butterflies, and then I was bringing him back to the playground to find his mama. I figured you'd be somewhere around here, feeling like your world was ending. The shocking truth wasn't that he was a monster. The shocking truth was that this stranger, a man who had suffered the worst loss imaginable, spends his quiet moments standing guard, protecting other people's children because of his own tragedy. He saw the understanding on my face. You have to watch them every second, he said. It wasn't a judgment, it was a plea. It only takes one. I could only nod, tears streaming down my face now for a totally different reason. I thanked him, my voice thick with emotion, but he just gave a sad little smile, turned, and walked away, disappearing back into the trees as quietly as he'd appeared. That day changed me. It showed me just how fragile everything I hold dear really is. Have you ever had one of those heart-stopping moments as a parent, where time itself just seems to stop? Share your story in the comments. I think we could all benefit from knowing we're not alone in these fears. And if you want to hear more stories about life's unexpected turns, make sure you subscribe. Conclusion. Bringing Leo home that day was like a reunion and a rebirth all in one. The weight of his little body in my arms was the most grounding thing I have ever felt. But that sense of absolute safety I used to feel in that park, it's gone forever. Now there's this constant low-level vigilance that I guess is the price I paid for that day's lesson. I learned two powerful things in those 10 minutes. First, just how terrifyingly fast a normal day can turn into a nightmare. And second, that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they're quiet, broken men who stand watch at the edges of playgrounds, turning their own personal hell into a shield for the rest of us. So hold your children close. Teach them to be safe, to scream, to find a police officer or a mom with other kids if they get lost. But also, look for the helpers. In a world that can feel so scary, they are there. That day, a stranger returned my son to me, but he also gave me a gift I never expected, a profound, painful, and permanent understanding of what it truly means to be a parent. And for that, I will be forever grateful.